Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Sam and I am the owner of Malia Stitches, Jocelyn's Comfy Apparel, and these businesses we make embroidered t-shirts, sublimation t-shirts, DTF prints, DTG, pretty much anything but screen printing. We don't do that, but anyway, in today's video I'm gonna just kind of take you step by step on how to do applique embroidery using an embroidery machine. This will work not only for a multi needle machine like this one. The cat, it's been raining. He doesn't like the rain. He's an outside cat, but he doesn't like the rain, so he has to be inside the garage when it's raining. He's something else. Anyway, so in this video we are going to take you step by step how to do applique embroidery with a machine. You can do that with a multi-needle like this one. This one is a Melco, or your basic tabletop single needle machines. The process is the same. Doesn't matter. So let's get started. Okay, so for this design I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 different applique pieces. The reason I know that is in the design there is an outline. This is a satin stitch on this design, but there's different types of border stitching that there can be. There's just a bean stitch or a blanket stitch. Either way, how I know this is because the design shows an empty space here. So for embroidery applique, let me pull up a different program here. This is my Embrilliance, but you can see the different steps here. So let's see if I can zoom it in. So for the outline of for this part, we have, I keep pressing things, sorry. For the game controller, we've got 1, 2, 3 different steps. So we're going to have applique position, which is just going to stitch, make an outline of the design that gives you the idea of where to put your fabric. Then you'll set your fabric down, and then it's going to stitch around it again. And that's called the tack down stitch. That holds your fabric in place. Then you know where to cut out around the design. And then you have your last stitch, which is your satin stitch, basically your finishing stitch. Goes all the way around the fabric. That hides any of the fraying and of the fabric and make sure it holds the fabric in place. When I use fabric for my applique pieces, I add some Heat and Bond Light to the back of each piece. That gives it a sticky adhesive so that when I press the shirt, it will adhere the whole piece to the shirt. Sorry, trying to do this one-handed. That way there is no bubbling or puffing up of the fabric. The whole piece is adhered to the shirt, similar to heat transfer vinyl. So I hope that made sense. So we're going to get started here. And we're going to start with the 11. And so I've got my shirt hooped. This is a mighty hoop, 10 by 10 mighty hoop. I'm using that with a size 10 t-shirt. T-shirts come from AJ Blanks, and the Mighty Hoops come from mightyhoop.com or hoopmaster.com, either one. So I am going to start here. Okay, so I've told the machine to stop in between each step. So as you can see, there is an outline. This is the placement stitch, so it shows me where I need to place my fabric. So I'm taking my fabric. It has the heat and bond on the back. You can kind of see the shiny there. And make sure I cover all the stitching. And start. It's going to do that same thing. Okay, so again, I told the machine to stop in between each step, so it'll stop here. This time you're going to take your piece off of your machine and we're going to cut this fabric off. I'm going to use my applique scissors. I like to use these curved applique scissors. They are linked in the description down below. And I'm going to just cut on the outside of the stitching all the way around to remove the extra fabric. We want to keep this on the inside, so don't cut your stitching. If you cut your stitching, it might cause the fabric to lift. So just cut right along the outside all the way around, and then I will be back as soon as I've got that cut. Okay, as you can see, I just cut around the outside of the stitching. So now I'm going to put this back on the machine, and it's going to do the satin finish stitch, and I'll show you what that looks like when it's done. It's kind of hard to do this one handed. Make sure your shirt's not tucked up underneath there, that you are in fact only stitching the top, and start. Alright, so as you can see, now their finishing stitch is done on this one, and it put down the placement stitch for the next one. So we just repeat the process. Lay your fabric down, tack down stitch, cut, and then it will embroider around like this. When it comes to the game controller, it's going to do each fabric piece first, so it'll do the tack or the placement stitch, then the tack down stitch, then it'll go to the next color, do the placement stitch, tack down stitch. It'll do that for all the fabrics, and then at the end it will do all of the finishing stitching. So I will show you that when we get there. Okay, so we have the placement stitch for the outline of the controller. So I'm just going to place my fabric down and hit start. Okay, so at this point you can cut this off, or because I know that this isn't going to interfere with any of the other pieces that I'm going to lay down, I'm just going to leave it. So I'm going to hit start so it'll show me where to place my next fabric. Okay, so I'm going to place, it's stitched right here, I'm going to place this down, but I'm going to place it in a way that I know there's going to be some black that needs to go over here and some black that needs to go down here. So I'm just placing this so that I can catch all of that in just this one piece here. Hopefully that makes sense. Okay, so it's stitched here. For the tack down stitch, I'm going to hit it again. Okay, so this is technically the placement stitch, but because I do this design quite a bit, I know exactly where it's going to be, so I'm going to skip what would be considered the tack down stitch. You are more than welcome to stop and cut in between all of these, whatever you feel comfortable with. I just know this design very well, so we're going to skip the next step, and then now it's going to do what's technically the placement stitch for the next part of the design. Okay, so it did the placement stitch. Again, I knew exactly where the fabric needed to be, so I'm going to skip the next step. You do not have to do that. Let me see. This part of the fabric might actually be in the way. So I'm going to cut it back just a little bit. Like this. And then we're going to start the colored buttons. So I'm going to hit start. So it showed me the placement stitch. I'm going to lay my color fabric down, then get my scissors because I don't want my fingers in here to hold the fabric in place. Hit start. Alright, so I'm just going to cut away some of the fabric that I know might be in the way of the next part. And hit start again. going to place the next color down, covering the placement stitch, holding this with my scissors so I don't get my finger. Press start, and it's going to tack it down. Okay, I'm going to cut this away. Press start again. Okay, now I'm going to place the next color over that placement stitch, holding it with my scissors so I don't get my fingers in there. Sometimes these little pieces will shift on you if you're not careful, so that's why I'm holding them in place. You can also use some temporary adhesive like a basting spray on the back of the fabric if you don't want to hold it down. And then we are going to do one more color here. Put down the placement stitch. I'm just trimming those threads, and I'm going to put my fabric covering that little circle. Okay, now as you can see, everything is kind of layered. I'm going to take it off because these are all the applique steps here, and I don't have any more fabrics to lay down. So I'm going to take it off the machine. I'm going to cut around all of these, and then we'll be back. Okay, so we have everything cut out, and now we just put it on the machine and it will do all the finishing stitching. Alright, it's all finished, so you can see it did all the outline stitching, the finishing stitching around the fabric, and that is basically how you do applique with an embroidery machine. I will link below if I can find where I found this, where I purchased this design. This was separate from the numbers, and I added the font pieces, the text. So this is a pieced together design. So you will not find just this design itself, but I can link where, if it's still available on Etsy, I will link where I purchased this. And hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. Hopefully you found, got some tips or tricks out of it. I'm leaving tomorrow to go to Michigan, so next video will be like a vacation vlog. We will hopefully see or have Pam in the next video or the video after. I'm not sure, just depends on how long how much I vlog while I'm away. So be on the lookout for that, and we will see you guys next time. Bye.